I'm so excited for this year in the Big Ten for Dante Moore and
Right,
Austin
right.
Novosad. What will that battle be? I'm going to do their spring game in a month and a half or so. These are two guys who are big time recruits. Dante takes the path to play. Austin takes the path to sit, and now they're going to battle, and one will likely emerge as the starter. And that will be a developmental approach. Whereas I hate when the portal hits and I see first year quarterback dipping immediately.
I know.
You just don't get a shot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that's different. I mean, that is certainly different. And there's good stories out of that. There's not so good stories out of that. Um, but I agree. I think it's going to be fascinating to watch. Even in the Big Ten this year. I mean, you look at the quarterback stories in our league. I mean, there's some fascinating side stories to all these guys. You mentioned the guys at Oregon. I mean, I look at like Dylan Raiola. So he played right away, right, and showed flashes of being great, but he also took some serious lumps, and showed himself as a freshman, and didn't play on a great team. And so, how will he be in year two? Drew Aller is probably the most seasoned, the guy that everybody's pointing to and says, he's the best in the league. But I think he needs to take another step in his development, right? So this will be his third year as a full-time starter. He's got a couple running backs back. They should be good up front. They still have questions at wide receiver, but he needs to take a step up. He took a step last year from his first year, but now he's got to find a way, number one, to beat Ohio State, and they've got to win the games that they're maybe not supposed to win. You look at Penn State last year, they made it all the way to the Final Four in the playoffs. They lose 3 games, and all 3 games they lost were to teams that were either as good or a little bit better than them on paper. They lose to Ohio State at home, Oregon in the Big Ten championship, and Notre Dame in the playoffs. So they got to find a way, and he's got to find a way to get them over that hump. But he's certainly incredibly talented. But I mean, I think Luke Altmyer is a great story. I mean, he's a guy that transferred from Ole Miss. Maybe because of Jackson Dart, whatever. But he's gotten better and better each year. He was much better last year than he was the year before. Now he has a chance to be a third-year starter, and I think Illinois has a chance to be sneaky good in the league. So he's an interesting guy to watch, and yeah, there's just all kind of ones. I look at this. I've never seen tape of this Mark Gronowski kid who's going to Iowa. But I do know what I saw Max Brosmer do at Minnesota last year, coming from a smaller school. Here's a guy coming from South Dakota State, highly decorated, going to Iowa, and Iowa they've just been missing quarterback play. They're so good on defense, and they typically can run the football, and they're typically good up front, but they just missed out on quarterback play being a little bit better than average. And so it'll be interesting to see how he does. But anyway, lots of great stories in the league this year.